Welcome to Up and About with Peekskill United. Commentary, news, everything Peekskill. We have a great show for you tonight. A couple of segments. Our first leadoff segment, Inside City Hall. A lot of activity down at City Hall. We'll talk about some of the appointments, some of the activities, some of the meetings, some of the discussions about development. And our second segment will be about the location of the homeless shelter on Washington Street. So let's start off with our first segment, Inside City Hall. Hi, I'm Bob Sullivan.
Hi, I'm Joe Torres.
Hi, I'm Louis Segarra.
Hi, I'm Bruce Bowen. You're kind of the street.
Our first segment, Inside City Hall. What's going on down in City Hall? And that's kind of the issue, isn't it? Is there true transparency in City Hall? Let's go to what Mayor Rainey said during the campaign last fall during the mayoral forum. Let's go to the tape.
One of the first things I want to bring to this city is transparency in your government. I want to be sure that the people know what we're talking about when we give them information. I want to be sure that the people know where to look when they need information.
Now, as the mayor mentioned in that clip that we just showed, he campaigned on transparency, allowing citizens to get information and telling them where to get information from City Hall. But not all citizens have access to that information in City Hall. In fact, there's a lot of clamor on social media about that. Let's take a look at this tape from a committee of the whole meeting during the summer back on July 16th.
One question, actually a request. When we're going for these public hearings, where does the public find the information regarding the public hearings? We've started to really be good at putting information about the agenda items, but I looked this morning, I looked last night to try to find information on where the public hearing information is.
The information should be posted
After today.
outside of
But if we're coming to
clerk's office.
but if we're coming to speak today, we should be aware of what we're speaking about.
Today, that's on part of the resolution is attached. That's all on the website, I believe, and it's
Did not
outside
find
of
any of it on the website.
It should be there. I don't know when you look. I'll double check.
Okay, well, I looked last night and this morning, I didn't find any of it, so I just,
And it's
thank you.
always hanging outside the clerk's office as well.
Maybe we could put information that it's outside the clerk's office then. So there could be a tagline or something. for
It's
the-
outside the clerk's office.
It should be on the website though, so we'll double check.
It shouldn't be difficult for people to find the information. So if it's outside the clerk's office, we should be told that it's outside the clerk's office. Thank you very much.
So we looked at those two clips. The mayor campaigned on it. Citizen was questioning the access to information. Is there transparency in City Hall? Do we know what's going on down there?
You know what? If you ask me, I don't know a thing that's going on there. All of a sudden, we know we have a person in a new position. Where'd that person come from? Now we have a situation in which we're looking for a city manager. Who put in for that position? I know I didn't, but I'd like to know who actually did. How does that work, Joe?
Well, the problem you have is that when you become an elected official, people vote you in to hope that you give them that transparency of that when you're going to put someone in a new position, that you discuss it and that you all vote on it, or you discuss who you're going to put in, and the process. And what happened is when they hired the deputy clerk, they hired the girl, and she was their campaign manager. Now everybody raised an eyebrow on that, and the problem was that on social media, there was a few people that said, I applied for the job, I never got a phone call. And their response was, well, the girl's qualified. And she probably is qualified, but it doesn't look good when people start saying, well, I applied for it, I never got a phone call. And that doesn't look good. And now, they hired somebody else that helped them in the campaign, the guy, McDonald from the NAACP, helped him get elected. And also now they're giving his wife a $100,000 job or so. So it doesn't look good for them. It looks like they're giving all their friends these inside jobs. They had to create a whole new position for it because it wasn't in the budget, and it wasn't even discussed out in the open about it. And that can be a problem,
Yeah. So now they have an executive director, and Denise Satow, I think is her name?
Denise Satow, she was the head of, and this
She was the head of the youth bureau, right?
She was the executive director.
And not to knock it, but I remember when I was on the council, the Democrats wanted to hire Tuesday Page McDonald, and the city manager felt that she wasn't qualified enough, or she wouldn't be able to satisfy what we really need for that. And he even said to us, he says, listen, he goes, if if we hire, we're not, the youth bureau is going to be gone, he said, because you have to have skills on doing grants and stuff like that. And if you don't make enough money for the grants, you can't hire the people that you want to hire. And that's a tough job, knowing the grants. Now, I don't think she has experience in doing grants from what I know, but I know Danielle does. And, are they just putting her there until she gets trained? And then they're going to kick her out or whatever?
Well, let's move a little bit behind that. Yeah. Where does that position come from that allows Paige McDonald, that's her name, I assume, to take over a high-level executive?
Well, the council put her on there. Oh, they told the city manager to put her on there. And it's really, even though the city manager says this is what I feel to do the job, they have a full board now. So they're going to say, well, we want her, because, probably because
I think the bigger picture is, what do you know? Yeah, too much stuff is happening on executive session. It feels like that's where the real
well, they're making the
is
decisions
happening.
in executive, sure.
But you know how the world knew about her appointment? It was on a Sunday morning on Facebook from her husband, congratulating her on appointment to the job.
So I didn't go to the
Before anybody else.
No!
So that was the transparency.
Yeah.
That's the transparency.
Okay.
Then there was a letter came out on Facebook from the mayor saying, oh, congratulations to the new executive director. This is on a Sunday, not a Monday with a press release. It's on Facebook from her husband. And then Facebook starts buzzing, okay?
Yeah.
And then the questions were asked like, when did this come about? When were we hiring? Oh. This job was posted back in April. It was posted. Well, you know where it was posted? On the city website? No. It was posted on the civil service website of Westchester County. If you go on the website, the city's website, and you say job opportunities, it'll say, go to the Westchester County, and it's got a link there to take you to Westchester County. So if you don't know there's that position, you got to scroll through police officer, county of Westchester, Pleasantville, constable, all this other stuff to find that job. So that's the transparency. And remember that whenever there's a heavy equipment operator job open, it comes out.
It comes out, yeah.
Yeah. And in fact, there was a job for a fitness club that the mayor put out on his Andre Farrell website that they're hiring. Well, that's nice. He's letting everybody know about jobs. But a job of basically a department head, you had to scroll through and find out where that was. And Councilman Fernandez says, there's more transparency. He pointed to a link, and this is all on Facebook, a link where at a cow during concerns and issues, he said, if there's going to be a committee for choosing a new executive director of Youth Bureau, I want to be on it, in about a 2-minute clip. So the transparency is this. If you want to look for a job in the city, and it's a big job, and it's a job that maybe they don't want everybody to go applying for, you got to scroll through, hang out, go to cow meetings, and do all this stuff.
So
that's not transparent.
let's just look at the city manager position. How many people have put in for it?
Well,
Do we know?
One thing I can tell you this, I just want to clear up with the city manager. Tuesday Page is a nice lady. I don't know her that well, but when I met her a few times, I thought she was very nice and very, she's a sweetheart. As far as the city manager goes, he works at the pleasure of the council and the mayor.
Right.
So basically, if he wants something and they say, well, no, we don't want that, he has to go with what they tell him in a sense, unless he quits, which he did, I think. But basically, and maybe that's what led up to all this, why he decided to depart, because he doesn't want the finger pointing.
I think as Bob's saying, it's about the transparency and us getting the information at the right times, not things being decided at the executive sessions. Why wasn't this position posted? And why weren't we told why we need it? Because I don't understand why we still needed that position.
Well, see, the problem you have here is that most of that, the grants pay for those positions there. And the city puts in a certain amount. Now they created this new job for this woman.
Absolutely.
And
It's
where are they going to get the money
favor,
from? Where's the money going to come from? Are they going to take it? I mean, the budget is set for the year, unless they dip into the budget, grab it somewhere else, or cut somebody else, or whatever. It's a problem. And taxpayers, when you're on the council or even the mayor, people want to know everything that's going on. They want to know where their tax dollars are going. And people voted you in because they trusted you, and they feel that you're going to handle all the money in the city. And if you start, acting like you're not doing that anymore, then people, and you see it now on social media, everybody's talking about the lack of transparency that they're seeing now. You know what I mean? And it's a problem. It's going to be a problem for them, I think.
See, and it isn't about the issue of whether the youth board director or the youth bureau director is qualified or not qualified. The issue is we don't know. Nobody knows, okay?
That's right.
And like you said, you know her, that's
Yeah,
fine.
it's totally different, yeah.
But the problem that you have with this, you know, an announcement on Sunday morning is people are uncomfortable with this. What they don't understand. I mean, they did the same thing, you know, many years ago with the judgeships and all this other stuff. If you want people to have confidence in these appointments, you got to come out in the open and you got to
Stand behind
it up. And we had 7 people look for this job, and
She was the best choice, yeah.
And
Good
Bob,
deal.
that's becoming the norm because now we're hearing about the homeless shelter.
Yeah. Well, that's
Where did that come from? And you know, first, no, it's not true. No, it's not happening. So now we're getting close.
but the
Let's
same
segue
person-
into that
the
one
same-
for the next segment.
Just on the same people that said that they knew nothing about the homeless shelter now come out and say they know about the
Yeah, they come. That's what makes it
You
look
know
bad.
what gets me is this city right now is very politically orientated. They're on top of things, and they're not going to take that not knowing what's going on, and they're coming out and they're saying.
Well, now you're starting to see even people that voted for him are coming out and
Are saying,
yeah.
which is not a very healthy thing.
No, and listen. I mean, you know, and I'll tell you, you know, you see this, and you know, I know Andre's a nice guy, but you know, when there's a job that comes out, he advertises it on his Facebook page. Also, these jobs here, you know, the deputy clerk that wasn't advertised. You know, Tuesday Pay's job, the coordinator's job wasn't advertised. It was kind of like, oh, bury it somewhere, and if you find it, good luck. If you don't, you know what I mean? And they wanted it that way because, you know, they had their mind set on what they want. And that's a problem because, you know, they should show that other people did apply for that job. And, you know, if people want to know, foil it, see how many people applied for that job, how many people they interviewed for that job, because I'd be very surprised if they did more than 2. You know what I mean? And that's my opinion.
So let me ask you a question, Joe. As being a council member, having sat and been in the political arena here, has this gone on in the past? As flagrant as it is now?
I can tell you, you know, when I was there with Frank and the other guys, we always try to keep everything out in the open. You know, I mean, Frank used to argue about, you know, why we have to put this in executive. The only things we really couldn't do in executive, really, is talking about an employee that either was being disciplined or whatever,
Right.
or, you know, something like that. But, you know, or something that was a lawsuit, litigation. Something that was in litigation and you couldn't talk about it because it would expose, you know, what you wanted to do. So those things were made. And most of that's what we kept in executive. But, you know, a lot of times, you know, you could talk about it. I mean, when we did the judge, we wanted to be out in the open because we wanted to see, you know, I mean, she's going to hear it. She's going to serve the city of Peekskill. And they want to make sure that what they're getting and why people are voting, why council members are voting for that. And we didn't get that. They wanted it top secret. They didn't want anything because they, you know, that was a whole nother deal. They wanted, you know, they had their mind set when they knew the girl was going to get the job before she even came and applied for it. And she applied for it before anybody even knew about it.
So if you were going to weigh this, does it weigh more now, less transparency? Or?
You know, if being on the council, and I'm being honest, I just see less transparency. Everything is sneaky. Everything is kind of like, you know, it comes out when it comes out. And you know, like you said, they deny things and then they say, oh yeah, you know, here I am.
So we're hearing a lot of stuff, but we're not hearing it from them. I'm hearing everything from social media,
Yeah.
out in the streets talking to people, and I'm like, well, I didn't hear this in council meetings.
Yeah.
I didn't hear that in council meetings, but it keeps coming up all over.
I'll give you an example. Over the weekend, there was a discussion about what's going on with the firehouses. A citizen had heard a rumor that the Washington Street Firehouse was going to be used for the Senior Nutrition Center and for the Youth Bureau.
Right.
And so I asked, what's going on? And it got into this thing, and what we really found out, quite frankly, is that the council hasn't really figured out what they're going to do with the firehouses. We got a multi-million-dollar firehouse opening up over there. All the fire equipment's supposed to be going over there, and we got all this real estate. And what came out, oddly enough, is that, you know, the city, the Washington Street Firehouse, and actually it was Mayor Catalina and Mayor Foster both chimed in on this social media posting. That firehouse over there was slated to be used for an EMS substation. It can't be used for anything else because it was conveyed to the city from the county with a restrictive covenant. It can only be used. Okay, so has the council decided when and what they're going to do? Are they going to use it as an EMS substation, deed it back to the county, or blow it up? You know, there was a discussion about the Broad Street station, you know, Route 202 and Broad Street there. It was talking about a vocational school. Well, okay,
The
what are
problem,
we going to do?
the problem you have is, you know, these buildings, the ones that the city does own, or they own, basically, you know, they cost a fortune to heat, they cost a fortune to run, And we were getting rid of them just for that purpose. You know, they felt they weren't good enough. And, you know, now you're going to try to keep them and do something with them. I think is you should just sell them and, you know, get your money out of them and put them back on the tax roll to get something back out of it.
So just as a final thought, maybe the problem with the transparency in the city is that there's no planning going into a lot of these functions.
There's no thought
And
process in
when-
it.
And when the subject comes up, a decision is made and it never gets out to the public. And that's the way it seems to me at this point.
Could be.
That there's really a lack of planning.
Well, I think some, you know, like you said, you know, I mean, he questioned a few of the council members, and a lot of them didn't even know what was going on with it. So it goes to show you that they're not really locked in. You know, they have certain agendas that they want, and that's not part of the thing.
What I'd like to see, and then we do have to wrap this segment up, at the concerns and issues at every council meeting.
Right.
Well, we hear about the senior citizens sang real well at this, and the kids did good in the play at the middle school. That's really a segment where if a councilman has a issue they want to bring before the council, that's where it should be. And I have to give her credit. I don't agree with her politics, but the one who does that religiously and speaks her mind and gets her agenda in is Councilwoman Agadella. So I'd like to see more of that. I'd like to see councilmen debate and come up with ideas and take it back. So what do you think? Let us know on Facebook and on YouTube.
Page, yeah.
I need to show.
Our next segment, relocation of the homeless shelter to Washington Street from Water Street, the Jan Peak shelter. A lot of discussion about that on social media, on the news. So we thought it would be a good discussion to have here on Up and About because it is commentary, it's everything Peekskill. First of all, I think it's important to recognize, I don't think there's anybody in this city, there's nobody sitting here, has an issue with the fact that we have an obligation to take care of those among us who are in need, including the homeless, including the people down at that shelter. Nobody's out to expel them from the city or put them under a bridge somewhere. We all understand. We all have families. We all have people in our families that have troubles and issues. So that's not the issue. The issue that's come out in social media is the location of where that shelter goes. That is absolutely the problem. And one of the things that disturbed me in seeing it on social media is, first of all, the way it was released. This thing was rumored about sometime in June, and there was a secret blog or an anonymous blog that came out and started talking about it. And then immediately, the people that were associated with the shelter all said, "Oh, no, we don't know anything about that."
Everybody,
No, everybody denied it. No, that's not happening. No. And now there's a formal announcement that, in fact, it's going to be relocated.
And I believe the mayor said it wasn't true neither, right? When it came out.
The mayor denied it. There's no
denied it.
discussions. There's nothing.
And also now, you know, and I think what makes it hard to swallow for everybody is that, you know, you have Jan Nunley. She said it was not true and all this stuff, and now she's showing up down there going, no, it's, you know, it's a good thing. We should do this and all this stuff. You know, so it just, I think it upset a lot of people because, you know, they kind of believed what she was saying. She denied it that CHOP had anything to do with that, and they weren't involved in that. And also now it's, you know, they're showing up down there on Channel 12 saying, well, this is what we want. We think it's a good thing. And, you know, like I said, none of us are against the homeless. You know, I mean, nothing was discussed with the people down there that own those houses down there, and they're going to get, their houses are going to be devalued.
Digging into it,
Yeah.
the location just does not
Well, it's
seem to
location.
fit.
I mean, it's location.
If you go down to Jan Peak, and I understand that building is very old and needs a lot of work, and it seems to be a good location, both as far as
Well, it keeps
where
everybody
it is
out,
and the residents who are in that home. They're able to move around freely. They're not under the scrutiny of anybody. But now, when you go up to Washington Street, you have businesses there,
Sure.
and you have private homes right in proximity
All wrapped around it, yeah, sure.
to the proposed homeless shelter at 851 Washington Street.
Yeah.
And it makes it just does not fit well. And I think it's coming out that it's not fitting well because the residents seem to all be standing together and saying, hey, listen, not here, but let's pick another location that's more centralized. And that was a whole issue about
Well,
it.
the other thing is too that you're not getting, you know, again, a lack of transparency. Who's buying it? Nobody's saying who's buying it. We don't know if the city's involved in buying it by getting grants. We don't know if CHOP's buying it, getting through grants. If the city's going to buy it, or, you know, are they going to be partners with them, or whatever? Are they going to own the building? So we don't know, and a lot of people don't know, and they're not even saying that part. which makes it even, people take a step back and go, well, no, we're not even getting the whole picture here. And so it gets everybody a little bit more nervous on what's going on, or they're just going to come out and say, I had people calling me today that live down that way and say, what's going on? Are you going to really do this? I said, I don't know, because we don't really know. We don't really know how they're going to
One
do
of the
this.
questions, what locations did they look at first? Is this the only place they went to? Did they look at other properties in Peekskill? No one really
It's said
knows.
that they did.
Because you've got a property that's on the tax roll right now
Yeah.
that you want to take off. When there might be other properties in Peekskill that you can use.
Well, it's said that they did look at a couple of properties. I think there's a property, one of the old school owned by Mount Olivet. No, that's not for sale. So it's very kind of unclear. But one of the things people have to understand, and I think what disturbed me about that, is the demonization of the people that are opposed to it. You don't like the homeless. You don't care about your fellow man. You're small-minded was a phrase used in some of the postings. Uninformed and all this.
Lack of compassion for people, homeless people, which is not true. Listen, all these people live down here, and there's there's a lot of good homeless people that really need it, and there's a reality that there's some of them are not some of the greatest people out there, and it's just a reality. As a police officer, when you would pick up homeless back then. Even now, not too long ago, just recently.
When I was working as a police sergeant, we would pick up the homeless, especially on cold, bitter nights.
Sure.
There would always be a resistance not to go to a homeless shelter. The reason being, these people have possessions, and these are their worldly possessions, and they always felt, the homeless, that if they went to a shelter, those possessions would be taken away from them, or they would be beat up, or they would be hurt.
Sure.
And so they were vehemently against going to a shelter, and this is basically what you have, and it makes it very difficult.
Governor Cuomo had that same
On TV, they asked him that question.
In his debate, he spoke about how unsafe it was, and that's why people don't
A lot of
want to
homeless.
go there.
Well, they were talking about taking the homeless off the street
Right.
and bring them to a shelter, and he said, well, they don't want to go there because they don't think it's safe enough. And and I talked to a few police officers that gave me some information, and they said that a few years ago or a couple of years ago, it used to be only Peekskill residents went there. And then what happened is there's a new board member, I think Cynthia Knox or whatever, she's on the board, she took over, and they opened it up to everybody outside of Peekskill. And, anybody could come from outside of Peekskill. And he said since that happened, he goes, the crime has gone through the roof down there.
I like the idea that you have a drop-in shelter, which this shelter is.
Yep.
Somebody gets burnt out of their house, somebody loses their job, and they can't
sure.
afford, or they get thrown out from their residency. It's cold out. They can go to the shelter and they can get a place to stay overnight. They can get a meal. It's a drop-in shelter. Great idea, but where you put it becomes very important to everybody else that surrounds it, and the acceptance of those people.
One of the things that I found interesting when this first came out, I looked at the zoning. That's zone C3, which is a general commercial district. And, the zoning code defines what can go in there, and also by special permit, you can do certain uses. A homeless shelter ain't a permitted use under the zoning, and it's not a special permit use. So, one of the things that's interesting when you look at the intent of the general commercial zone in the zoning statute, a C3 in the general commercial district is designed to have a retail shopping area close to residential areas. The idea is kind of not a big downtown commercial district, but an area where you got to go get a quart of milk or a 6-pack of beer, and that's what that commercial district is designed for. And what I found very interesting is, okay, if we're going to put this thing in there, how are you going to do it? Because you need a use variance. There's certain criteria for that, and I don't think this meets any of those criteria. Or the Common Council can just do a text amendment to the zoning statute. They can do all that.
They can do that.
But the idea of this thing is, if this was an ideal place for a homeless shelter, it would have been in the zoning code, that it would be a permitted use.
And that area, Washington Street and the surrounding, it was zoned specifically for homes and small businesses.
Small businesses.
Yeah.
The C3 corridors,
Right.
things like restaurants, minor auto repair, small retail, like the Dunkin' Donuts. That's what it's zoned for. And as I recall reading, and I'm no expert on zoning, believe me, it explodes your head when you read this stuff. But that whole strip from Washington Street all the way down to South Street downtown is designed for that. When the zoning code and the comprehensive plan of the city was designed, it was to put a small retail commercial strip. You got the little La Marqueta there, things of that nature. Nothing big, but certainly you don't want to put in a medical facility like a First Med or something like that. That's out of the character of that whole area. Sure. And I think I read in there where new home development and new residential is prohibited. So all those homes, those beautiful homes, they're probably grandfathered in. I don't know enough of the history, and like I said, I don't know that much about zoning. But those residents are grandfathered in. But it's specifically designed to enhance the McHale's.
So the original design of that area was basically to have homes and to have services that provided to those homes.
Yeah, but primarily. Okay. I mean, you have like McHale's, you have light industrial there like McHale's. Yeah. That's what it's about. Okay. But again, things like you have a couple auto body shops there. Now those aren't zoned within the zone, but they're
grandfathered in.
They're not grandfathered. They can be a special permit. So, and when you look at those body shops, one of the arguments people were saying, well, body shops, oh no, those body shops are all, you don't see any cars, you don't see anybody. They have beautiful facades, they're well kept, and the reason for that is under their special permit, they toe the line of their toast. So, and you have the National Guard Army there, okay, so you got a lot of soldiers running around on Saturdays, but it's not meant for a purpose like this, where you would have, for instance, if you wanted to move the Hudson River Healthcare facility on that street, you couldn't or shouldn't do it. It's not zoned for that. That's not the kind of use that is really designed for. And again, if you wanted to have a communal residence, and we're talking about, I've seen anywhere from 19 beds or 50 beds, they would have put it in the code.
50 beds. It's kind of funny because there was an architectural design already done for this.
Somebody spent money.
Add-on.
Somebody spent money on this, and for someone to put that kind of money into it, it almost sounds like, we can't confirm that, but it sounds like, they already got the nod from the council that it was okay to go ahead and do what you have to do. We're going to give it to you and make sure you get it. And that's what it looks like now. And I think, rightfully so, a lot of people are upset about that because it sounds like they made the deal without going to the communities and saying, hey, how do you feel about this? If you guys are against it, or and like I said, it's not fair to the people that live down there. And again,
but nobody was asked.
Nobody was asked. I even heard that the guy was selling it for $600 and something thousand, and they offered him $900 or whatever. They paid full asking prices.
Who offered him?
Well, we don't know who. We don't know the city, or we don't know.
Let me tell you, and this is the cynic in me. This is the cynic. If you take that property for municipal use, a lot of these zoning issues
go away.
Sure. Like if you want to move a police station there or a fire station.
Sure.
Hey.
So that, let's see how that
maybe that's an idea that had to be looked at, maybe moving something else to put a homeless shelter somewhere else. But right now, look, I have nothing against a homeless shelter, but that location does not.
I agree, I agree.
Bruce, you and I, through the Rotary Club of Peekskill, we feed the homeless on Wednesdays. Yeah. We got great people. We have a great time.
Yes, absolutely.
And Tanya runs a tight ship over there.
Yes. Yeah.
But even the residents there, they don't want to be in a place where they're seen all the time. Yeah. They like their certain areas.
They like their privacy.
Yeah, absolutely. So, are we asking them?
Which is true. You don't want to be seen.
So we're asking them, is that where they want to be? Because a lot of them probably don't want to be there. Yeah. But the other issue is the people who live in that area, when they moved to that area, that wasn't there.
That wasn't there, sure.
So they moved in there because they want a certain type of environment. Yeah. They care about their home values.
They put money into their houses.
They care about the safety of their children.
Sure.
And they care about the site of the area. Sure. So when that area gets changed, how can you get upset at them because they're upset about the change? Yes. They have a right to.
Their house values will go down.
To have their concerns on it because it seems like it's being thrown at them rather than having
with no choice, no voice.
There's no voice.
When it does go to public hearing, there's going to be a lot of people upset about it, and they're going to voice their concerns. And really, at the end of the day, those are people you should be listening to.
Because at the end of the day, when the next election comes, they'll vote you right out, and they will. We've seen that happen before.
We just want the people's voices to be heard, especially in that area, because it's going to affect them the most. I can speak, my opinion, but my opinion really doesn't count as much because I don't live in that area right now, and this affects them.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's easy for someone to say it's okay. Right. Let them. But the people who live down there, they're the ones that are going to lose the most.
And a little advice from someone who's been to City Hall and taken on some issues at City Hall. If you want to be heard on this issue, stay off of Facebook. Go down to City Hall. Go to the planning board. Go to the city council. And trust me, when you're there and you're speaking to them, they'll listen.
Yeah.
The system really does work, but if you want to sit back and say, well, I can't go on a council meeting, I work late, then don't bother if you go on Facebook.
And I think there's
If you wanna go
petitions
now.
going around as well.
There's,
Yeah.
there's
So
petitions going
If you want
around.
to sign a petition, there are petitions to sign and let the city know where you stand on
Yeah,
it.
you're
But you know,
unsatisfied.
petition, show up. That's what works. You know, one of the things that had come up in a couple of committee whole meetings during the summer, there was questions about what's the status of South Street. We really haven't heard anything in terms of during the meetings of any updates. I know there was a request for proposals was returnable back in May, I think.
Yeah.
Have you guys heard anything about South Street?
I haven't heard anything at all. Like I told you in the beginning, it's a complicated property in a sense that, that somebody's going to have to put some money into that place. And if they don't get this done, I think they're going to lose an opportunity because I think in November of 2019
I think.
it'll be over. So
Maybe we'll hear something after an executive
I mean, you
session.
hope something comes out of it. You really do,
Come out of it,
because
that's when things happen. So we'll find out
But
about
you
it.
know, the good thing is there is development happening. First of all, we got the Gateway project is done. It looks gorgeous.
Yeah.
And now there's discussion at a COW meeting of a development going right next to the Kiley Center. So we all saw that committee of the whole meeting. What do you think? Lewis, you're in the
645 Main Street. It is like you're putting a piece of concrete in an area that really needs some type of excitement. We're known as the artist district in Peekskill, and there's just no artistry there. I mean, give me something fun, exciting, that represents the artist in Peekskill. Give me something funky.
Yeah.
But we've got to change putting concrete blocks on our blocks and our the properties that need to be developed, because that's not who we are anymore.
Yeah.
We're, the top of line artists in Westchester. We've got to show we're a fun place to come to. And, people just want to, put a quick idea because they can make, money now with rentals, stuff like that, but they're not representing who the city is anymore.
Well, one of the things the developer tried to do, he said, is to try and match the character of the Gateway project and kind of blend it in with that architecturally. And also, I guess the question is, they're designed to be workforce and affordable housing. So the artistry that you're looking for, is that possible in a project that is priced for not lower income, but working class type people?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It doesn't take as much as they may put in there. But when you say affordable housing, they're not talking about affordable for Peekskill residents. They're talking about affordable for Westchester residents, which is
Westchester comparison.
which is quite different than the Peekskill median income.
Yeah.
So when they say affordable, they're not talking about really Peekskill residents, which is in a way, I'm not saying it's not needed, because we do need middle income and affordable housing. We definitely need some of that stuff in here. But they're very good, smart developers when they spoke to the council and said all the things the council wants to hear.
Yeah.
We're going to put green trees there. It's going to be affordable, but they didn't say affordable really to who? They skimmed around on the issue.
Yeah.
We're going to give people from Bowman Towers the opportunity. Well, I don't think too many people are going to be able to afford those apartments.
Yeah.
The median income in Westchester for a family of four is about $117,000.
Yeah.
So that's a big limit. But they talked about putting money in the youth bureau.
Kiley Center, yeah.
And the Kiley Center. And to
Peekskill doesn't even own that building.
that stopped everybody from thinking.
Yeah.
Because no one asked certain questions, such as, okay, well, how many jobs is that going to bring to the residents of Peekskill? How much work is that going to bring to the businesses in Peekskill and the surrounding area? Because can you take residents from Bowman Towers and put them in an apprenticeship program so they can learn about development, about construction, about those type of things? Nothing. I talked about putting plants and a garden. When the Rotary was doing the cherry blossoms trees, everybody's saying, well, they're not indigenous to Peekskill. Well, what type of trees are going there? And are we putting a green roof there? They're going to put a green garden. That doesn't help out. Where's our solar system that they're going to use for common areas? I was waiting for Gardella to say, well, excuse me, where's all the the conservation things that we need in
Solar.
Peekskill? Yeah, where's all that stuff at? But they heard certain words, and the developer said, I got you.
Actually, the developer said his heating system was going to be gas fired, the good old gas, So
Also, didn't the developer say that they were going to make a donation to the Kiley Center? And
Well, it was a grant. It was a
Oh,
grant.
grant.
It was a grant of 1.5 million, which the whole thing is they're gonna get a grant for building. The city doesn't own that. It's owned by federal government,
Right.
which is Peekskill
And they
Housing.
haven't discussed the housing
That's
up there
federally
either.
owned. Yeah.
But you're gonna put all that money there, but what they need is programs that the kids can come into. So you're gonna have this beautiful building, but no programs
No
for
programs
kids that
that-
can
yeah,
really use.
nothing inside of it.
I mean, where's the education programs? Where's the get ready for work programs? And excuse me if I say this, but where's the sex education programs? And these are things that our youth really need to hear and get involved in.
Yeah.
But they got a beautiful building without the programs they're gonna really need.
But that time will tell. The development process will take its
toll, yeah.
you know, you know that when we start out with the gateway, you know
That's a big project. I mean,
My
what
thing
they
is
want
that
to do
the
down there.
council is hearing certain words that's making them forget what some of the real issues need to be addressed. When they close down those streets, that's a very popular street. So in the mornings and the evenings, people
Yeah.
coming, going to work,
Central
coming to
Avenue,
work.
yeah.
and Central.
Central.
Who's,
Sure.
who's closing that stuff down and how do we reroute it? We already have problems of, how people get in and out from that area already.
Yeah, going up the hill.
Well, hopefully during the development process, city staff will get into that properly, and the city manager, whoever that is at that time. And they're talking about time frame about 2019, 2020, where this is all going to start taking shape. So it's a long time, but.
I don't think there's anyone in the council there who really has development experience dealing with people to make sure that their community is not just this one area. Peekskill is so much bigger than that one little area, and we all have to benefit from everything that goes on in every single place.
Well, yeah,
It's
I
not
could
just that one
say,
area.
when we were there, we always looked into, what they were doing, what was going on, where were they putting their money, was it possible to do it, stuff like that. We talked to some of the planning people, get a real grip on, what's good for the city. And I don't know, we'll see.
So time will tell. What do you think? Let us know on Facebook or YouTube. Okay. This past weekend, we laid to rest a great American, in my view, Senator John McCain. I had the honor, along with 900,000 other people, of serving in the Navy at the same time John McCain did. You didn't have to like his politics. He certainly wasn't self-admitted a perfect person, but he's somebody that's going to be missed. He's somebody that really set a tone for political discussion in Washington, and it's really an example we should all follow.
Okay, I was down at the parks down along the river the other day. I took a walk with my wife and my dog, and this is the first time I noticed really how bad it is down there. There's weeds all over, and I'm not blaming DPW because I know they have their hands full. They're short-staffed, but that's our jewel down there. And I heard people complaining about it. It had weeds overgrown over the sides. The grass is 6 or 7 inches tall. You couldn't even walk through the grass. So it's a shame to see that park really just go downhill like that. Hopefully they'll start paying attention to it sooner or later.
The Peekskill Rotary Club is having its annual horse show event at Blue Mountain on September 29th and 30th. It's a great event for children. It's a great event for adults. Come on over. I'll be there. Bruce will be there. And join us. We're going to have a great time.
I'd like to bring attention to everyone who's watching us here tonight about something that's going on in our city that's not very healthy. I've been a resident here for at least 25 years, and this has always been a peaceful and vibrant city, and they've been quite vocal in many ways. I happen to see lately on social media, which is a right of speech, that anything that is said against our council and the mayor, who is doing, as far as I'm concerned, a very important job, and not a bad job at all for the time he's been in office. But if somebody happens to disagree with the mayor at this time or the council, there are many people coming at these people and scaring them by using bullying tactics. There's no thuggery allowed in this city, and there shouldn't be. Everybody should have an equal voice and say what they want to say. And if they have to debate, debate. But to scare the residents and to make them feel that they're in fear of their life or they can be hurt, well, that just cannot be tolerated. So please, everyone, try to respect each other. Thank you.
Well, that's our show for tonight. We hope you enjoyed the topics and the discussion. So let us know what you think, again, on Facebook or social media. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you for watching the show. We truly appreciate it.
Good night.
Good night.